Well, hey everybody, welcome to day 4 of 365 daunting days of coming online and being live. And I am Kara from the Twins Healing Magic and Beyond. And if you've been following me, you know that I don't want to do this, but I do. I do want to do this. And so the last couple of days, I have realized how very powerful I am putting myself in this I've been up against a wall for the last couple of days, and I've had a whole lot of points of view around you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, and just really stuck in my head. And so yesterday I was lucky enough, Krista ran my bars, which is an access consciousness healing where it clears the monkey mind. And so I'm feeling a lot more, a little bit more sound in the mind today. Hi Charlene, how are you doing? And so actually I had my bars run yesterday, and then just this afternoon, I put myself in this most awesome crystal layout and really worked on healing my body, and I'm feeling so much better. And so I've decided I'm going to, hi there, Margie, how are you doing? I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off, and I'm gonna just be really me and get a little bit crazy here. So Krista and we quit drinking right before our 40th birthday just this past year, and it has allowed me to really start diving into doing more of the things I love, which is working with crystals and working with energy and working with the spirit world. And so Grandpa McIver has really come into my life in this last year. And so on our 40th birthday, I asked Dad if he had a picture that I could have of Grandpa so I could put it in my meditation area. And I ended up getting, hi Allison, how are you? I didn't realize that Grandpa had he had written a memoir, and Auntie Susan actually had typed up the story of Grandpa. And so I started reading his memoirs, and I got to a part in his memoirs where he talks about his grandpa Andrew Hansen, Andrew and Ellen Hansen. And Andrew lived the most colorful life. If Tina, you've probably read this. Anyways, such a colorful life, and I found out that they had a graveside in Chamberlain. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's really neat. So it was about August, and I was reading this book. It's called Astral Dynamics. I was reading this on Lee's deck one morning. It was a Saturday morning. And it was bright and early. Lee must have been at work, and I was reading about astral dynamics, which is basically about expanding beyond your body and moving around in the outer realms kind of thing. And so Krista and I have been doing these energy pulls where you expanding beyond your body and you're pulling in the energy of what you want your life to be. And so I had just been doing an energy expansion, and then I had been reading that book, and I thought to myself, I know, and I should warn you, this gets a little bit weird and crazy, but I'm just gonna be who I be, and hopefully you guys will think this is kind of neat actually. So I'm sitting out on the deck, and I'm like, if I can expand my energy out into the universe and pull in what I want my life to be, well, then maybe that means that I can go to Chamberlain, move my energy down to Chamberlain and go and find their grave. And meet them and talk to them and say hi to them. And so a lot of times when people do visualizations, they're like, close your eyes and visualize this and blah, blah, blah. And that never ever worked for me. And what I found is that if I have my eyes open, I'm more able to visualize. And so I was sitting on the deck and I was looking at the trees just across the yard. And I was like really focusing on the trees, just looking at them like, now visualize me getting energetically out of my body and going over to the trees. And so I did that. And I'm like, okay, now that I'm here, if I can go from the deck to the trees, why don't I try to get from the trees to Chamberlain Graveyard? And I know this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, I'm so grateful that we quit drinking because I have so much time to do the weirdest things and play with energy. And so I'm like, I have always wanted to fly. Like I always have flying dreams and I always was like, I can fly. So I turned myself into a crow and I visualized myself like with my eyes open. I visualized myself like flying down to Chamberlain, and it was so vivid to me. I could see the highway below me and I could see like to the left and to the right, like I could see the field and the blue sky, and it was so neat. And then I got closer and closer to Chamberlain and I realized that I didn't know where the graveyard was. So I like kind of swooped around, and in my mind's eye, I found it just outside of Chamberlain, and it was just this teeny tiny little graveyard surrounded by trees. And I went in and I found their graveyard, and then I turned myself into me, and I ended up chatting with them. And I was chatting with Andrew. Like this is all like going on at an energetic level, and Andrew was like, I think you would be better off talking to Ellen. And so I really connected with her, like my great grandma Ellen. And what she said to me was that she could see that I was like, that there were all these walls around me. So like all the excuses of why we can't do something, I can't do this, I can't do that, I won't do that, it's too scary, it's too hard, I'm too stupid, all the things we say to ourselves, why we can't do something. And it builds like this wall, this barrier around us where I've been the last 2 days, and it keeps you feeling so stuck in this space. And she said to me, like, if you can look at these points of view or these walls as just energy, and that you can actually move beyond that. It doesn't have to be real, like all this stuff in her life can feel so real, but she's like, if you can look at it as energy, that it's not real. And so she was helping me kind of to like knock down these energetic walls. And then she sent me healing energy and reminded me that as you're going through big changes, you cannot forget to take care of your body. When we go through changes, and so if you're visualizing what you want in your life, and you're visualizing and you finally convinced yourself that yes, I can do this, and then something still is stopping you, you must remember that our bodies are so freaking programmed to the past. They are so programmed to protect us from the big bad outside world. Like they're programmed to resist and react and to be how they've been for me for 40 years. So with this whole public speaking thing, it's like my body is still trying to resist it, right? And so the point she was saying, my great grandma Ellen was saying, was to make sure you take care of your body. Like it's so important. It takes your body time to catch up with this new way of functioning, this new way of being. And so you can't make this stuff up. I was like, this is insane. I can't believe this. And so I said goodbye to them, and then I, like, almost like a boomerang, like I could turn back into a crow, and I shot straight up into the universe, and I came straight back down, and I landed on my head, and then it was like I came back in my body. And I was like, did that seriously just happen? Like, seriously. And so I journaled about it, because I'm like, I have to journal about this. Like, this is just crazy. I journaled about it, and then I came home here, and like, I just couldn't believe it happened. So I decided to go online, and I Googled Chamberlain graveyard. And lo and behold, I found a picture, an actual picture. They have, like, people take pictures of people's headstones, which is really cool. And there was a picture of their headstone. And so I'm like, holy crap, like they really, like, this is a possibility that this happened. So I'm telling Krista about it, and she's like, oh my God, like, this is so insane. We should go to Chamberlain. And I'm like, yeah, we could, but then, you know, you go into all that doubt, and I made it up, and this is crazy. Like, mostly this is crazy, but, and then I whacked myself upside the head. Oh, thank you, Jen. So I whacked myself upside the head and was like, no, we're doing this. Let's go to Chamberlain. So the next day, and like, man, like, Krista, like, we are crazy. So we get Krista's kids, Izzy and Cammie, and we convince them to come with us by stopping in Chamberlain, because Chamberlain's got a really awesome ice cream store there. And so we pack up the kids and we drive down to Chamberlain, and it's just like this beautiful August day, and we got ice cream, and we're sitting out on the bench outside, and we're like, all right, well, let's see, like, let's figure out where this Chamberlain, where the graveyard is. And so we Googled it, and we found the coordinates, and punched them into Krista's phone. And it was so weird because, like, she's used her phone like a million times to go places, and it was like just the screen and everything was acting really, really wonky. And it said it was like 10 minutes away. And so she puts it on, and we're driving out of Chamberlain, and then we realized it's actually just, it was getting us to go on the road on the way to Moose Jaw. And then it's like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, no, sorry, I'm lying. First of all, we find this graveyard, which is just on the way to Moose Jaw. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And I realized I've seen this graveyard before. And I gotta tell you, I was pretty disappointed because there were no trees at all around this graveyard. And long story short, we walked around that graveyard for like 30 minutes at least, and the kids were like, can we go now? Like, what? This sucks, you know? And we never did find their grave, their headstone. And I'm like, well, what the heck? That is so weird. And Krista goes, do you think there's any chance there's a second graveyard in Chamberlain? And I'm like, I doubt it. You know, like, Chamberlain's tiny, but whatever, let's Google it. And so we Googled it, and lo and behold, there is indeed a second graveyard in Chamberlain. So this is where we put the coordinates in again, and it said it was this second graveyard was 10 minutes away. And her phone started acting really weird, and then, yeah, it said it was 10 minutes away, and then all of a sudden her phone went down. It was like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it showed that we'd passed it, and we're like, what? Like, what is going on? So we pulled over on the side of the road, and it is not just like a quiet, quaint road. It's quite busy. So we're like, there's traffic coming. We're like, what are we doing? Like, this is insane, but let's just do it anyways. And so we turned around and we rechecked the coordinates and punched them back in, and the phone does it again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And then all of a sudden I look over to the right, and there, like, it's kind of up on a hill, kind of, is a teeny tiny little graveyard surrounded in trees. And I'm like, like trying to stay calm because I'm like, this is what? Like, this is totally where I visualized that I went, you know? And so we went in, and sure enough, like, it's this really old graveyard with these really, really old graves, and it's very small, so there's not actually very many graves there. And lo and behold, over by the edge of the trees, all by itself, is their graveyard, their headstone, Andrew and Ellen Hansen. And I just was like, wanted to do a slow clap. It's like, you cannot make that up. And so we all sat there and we connected with Andrew and Ellen, and it was so beautiful. It was like the most amazingly magical day I've ever experienced. And then Andrew's energy, he came up to me and he says to me, "You're the crow." And I'm like, oh my God, like you just cannot make this up. And so the reason that I'm telling you guys this, that I decided to share this story, well, is one, because like as I was doing my crystal healing this afternoon, this story came up, and I'm all about following the magical energy trail. But more so, it is to tell you that, like, what if we are so much more powerful than we realize? Like, what if we are capable of so much more than we even know? And like, with every situation in your life where you're like, I can't, I have no choice, this is just how it is. Like, what if it isn't? Like, what's possible that you don't think is possible? What else is possible here that I haven't even considered? And so I am telling myself to remind myself of this story too, in these moments where I am so stuck in these walls, because it's like, we are capable of so much more than we realize. Hi, Felita. How are you doing? I'm just actually going to be leaving here soon. I was telling a crazy story that you'll have to go back and listen to about an experience I had. And what I want to say is all of this came about from, really from all these energy pulls that we've been doing. And Kristen, ever since we quit drinking, we've really been practicing like expanding beyond. And so if you want to get a little taster of what that is or what it feels like, Krista actually posted her video on Instagram today where she really does talk about energy pulls as well. And she goes through a little energy pull. Hi, Laverne, how are you doing? And I also want to say that if you've listened to this story and you're like, well, I couldn't do that, like that's not possible for me, I just want to tell you, I have been working with the energy of the universe for the last 12 years, and I've really struggled with communicating with spirit. And then like about 5 years ago, there was a psychic medium who had come to town, and I remember she was amazing, but she went around the room pointing out just a few particular people. I was like, oh yes, you've got a gift, you're very gifted, and like really talking some people up. And I will be honest, I really let that stick me, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess that I suck. I guess that I'm not good at this, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how to communicate with spirit and this and that. And then in October, Krista and I went to the Talk to the Entities course in Fork Lakes. And the biggest thing that came out of taking that class was when they said, nobody is any more powerful than anybody else. Nobody is more psychic than anybody else. We are all capable of reading the energy that is all around us and connecting with the energy. Like, all we have to do is believe. And from that moment on, I wiped away those old beliefs that I can't. And it's a daily practice. Like, it's a daily practice, pushing yourself beyond what you think is actually possible for you. So I hope this story has helped you to realize that you are capable of so much more than you could possibly imagine. Please do hop on over to Instagram to watch Krista's video for today, where she can lead you through a little energy pull. And wherever you feel stuck in your life, know that you can expand beyond it and create the life that you truly desire. And I am going to keep on practicing coming on here. And one day I'm actually going to be excited about coming on here and be like, woo, I can do this. So have a good rest of your weekend, you guys. And I will be back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.